Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for being here as we get ready to read. Please, guys, get active in the comment section, say where you're from, and let us know if you are now learning to read English, if you are a beginner reader, or if you have been practicing English for a long time. So let us know, guys. And don't forget to share the live out, share it to someone who may be interested in learning how to read. So then let's get up to it in our comments section. We got the songs. Go ahead, guys. Share the live. Let's see the video after commenting. Get after guys. Let's see comments. Get after. Hello, guys. Please comment in the comment section. What after? Let's see after guys. And those of you Indians, those of you who are here from India, thank you so much for always coming to the channel. I've seen you guys. You guys are really paying attention to the content. And I do hope that the content is helping you with your goal to improve English. So always feel free to comment. Let me know what content you guys want to see. Yep. We're interested in knowing what content you want to see. Okay, guys, so now I'm going to present our screen and we are going to get ready for our reading section. Don't forget, guys, we are reading today about the topic, my hobbies. My hobbies. My hobbies. So, what is your hobby? Do you have a hobby? If so, let us know. What is your hobby? Do you know what is a hobby? If you do not know what is a hobby, type I don't know in the comment section so I can know if you know what a hobby is. So, a hobby is an activity that you do regularly, and this activity you do it in your spare time or in your leisure time for pleasure. Some persons may call a hobby an interest. Some people may also call it a pastime. So if you've heard a pastime or you hear about leisure activities or leisure, um, the pronunciation will be different between the British and the American. One says leisure, the next one would say leisure. So whatever activity you do in your spare time, that is called your hobby. So my hobby, one of my hobbies would be to read. I enjoy reading. It's something I do for pleasure. And so I can call it my hobby because I would read during my spare time, I would read. So if there's a game that you play during your spare time, it might be a game like tennis. It might be something like you might even do fishing. You might sail. You might go walking. All those, they can be your pastime. And so you can call them your hobby. So hobby ends with a Y. However, when we are making it more than one, we change the Y to an I, and so we add ES to get more than one. We call it hobbies. So in this reading today, we are going to be hearing about hobbies. which means we're going to be hearing about more than one thing that we do during our spare time, right? More than one thing that we do during our spare time or during our leisure time. And if you have a hobby, type your hobby in the comment section. Let's get active, guys. We need you to get active. All right. So, sorry, guys, you may have seen this before from our last post. And so, we are going to be looking at it keenly. Our last post, we were having problems with our internet connection, guys. And so, we did not get to fulfill our job in terms of finish or completing the reading. But today we are going to try our best to complete the reading. And so we're going to be getting into it, guys. Please share out the live to someone that you know might be interested in reading. I'm going to stop the screen a bit, guys, so that we can there's something that I forgot to do. So I'm just gonna stop a bit and then we're going to begin. Okay. So nevertheless, guys, it's just something very simple. Okay. All right, guys. I guess we can go back to it now. Right, guys. You know how technology can be sometimes, but it's okay. Nevertheless, God has been fruitful, guys. So we're gonna be going through our reading for today. Share out the live, guys, to someone who you know may be interested. And here is our reading text for today. Let's get right into our reading text for today. Remember, we are going to be calling the whole words today. We're going to be calling the whole words. If there are needs for me segmenting the word or to give you songs, I would do that. Okay, because things for you to remember when you're spelling. If there's a need for me to help you to note things that may be important for your spelling or your grammar, then I'm going to be highlighting those and also show you how to break down the different words to call them correctly. So those are what we're going to be practicing today. Let's get right into the reading. I hope that you're ready, guys. All right, so we're going to call the first word. And the first word is grow. So we have OW making the O sound, and then we have ING saying in. Always remember to call the root word first. The root word is grew, grow, and in, growing. The word growing, it means when something has expanded or when something has gotten bigger or when something has enlarged. We can use all those words to mean the same as grow. So when we say something is growing, it means that that action is taking place in the moment. Okay, it's happening. And also we can use other words like develop to mean that something is growing or grow. Or if something has enlarged its size, we can say that it is growing. All right. Or even in the case of quantities of stuff, if the quantity keeps getting more and more, then you can say, or increase, you can say that it is growing. All right. This name, we're going to be looking at it carefully because names can be pronounced different in English However, I'm just going to be highlighting the pronunciation for this one, the most popular pronunciation that you'd hear in English, okay? So this is actually pronounced as a, me, sh. The CH is pronounced as sh, mish. So we hear SH sound here for the CH. Remember, we've learned that CH can make different sounds. It can make the song k, it can make the song ch, and it can make the song sh, like in machine. So that's the same pronunciation we have here. Mish, and then L, Michelle. The two, the LE at the end is actually silent in the word. So you would just say Michelle, Michelle. All right. And this might be a name that you're familiar with from Michelle Obama. Obama's he was a president of the United States of America. His wife, she was the first lady. Her name was Michelle. Her name is Michelle Obama. So if you ever see that name, the most popular pronunciation to read as is Michelle. Some persons may want to call it Michelle and all that. Um, the most popular pronunciation is Michelle. But hence, because it is a name, remember that names, they can be pronounced different, and persons can choose a pronunciation that they want. Our next word is always, always. The AY makes the sound A. So we hear w, A, and then we just add all to it. So we have all and ways. And we add S at the end. Remember, the S at the end makes the sound always. Sorry, guys. So in spelling, you always have to remember that it's only one L, even though you hear always, all and ways, always remember that it's spelled with one L. Our next word, we hear ow. So we put N and D together, and we hear found, found, found. The word is found, found. Always would mean when something is being done every time or all the time. That's when you would use the word always, or on every occasion, you use the word always. Our next word, found. Found is the past tense for the word find. All right. When you have found something, it simply means that you have discovered it. And most likely you have discovered it by chance. All right, our next word, we have all. So we put this word together, all, sol. And those of you who speak Spanish, you may be very familiar with sol, as in the sun. So that might be easy for you to pronounce. And then we have the A making the long song because the E is at the end silent. So we hear the A say A, and the S that comes before makes the song like the C, sorry, that comes before the E makes it sound like S. Remember what I told you? A lot of English words when they end CE, a C first, then an E after, the C would most of the time make a sound like S. So you hear S. And that's because when C comes before E, I or Y, in most cases, it's going to make the sound like S. So you're going to hear S. It's called a soft sound. So when we put this together, we say all, sol, and ace. This small word is ace. Like when you really did well, excellent at something, you would say you ace it. Right, that's a small word there. So solace, when you have solace, it simply means that you have comfort or you have support, or in some cases, you can say that you are relieved. you know. Yes. Our next word that we're going to take a look at is this word Q and U in English together makes the sound cool. The I here makes the long I sound, and the E and the T goes together to make a random says et. So we hear cool, I, et, quiet, quiet. All right. And when you're quiet, it simply means that there is silence. When there is quiet, it means that there is silence. There is no noise. The place might be stilled or soundless or mute or soft in some cases. Uh, you can also use the word hushed, yes, to mean quiet. Our next word, O. So we hear O with a long sound there, and then we see this ending that is spotted in a lot of longer English words. It is the suffix meant. So we have and n meant. Or we can say we have men and just add meant. And then we add s to make it more than one. So we have moments. We have moments. Or ends. Moments. Our word is a moment. And what is a moment? So a moment is a very brief period of time. Some moments can be like for a second, for a minute, for just a short time, or in a split second. We can call it all a moment. Okay, a very short amount of time, or a particular time or occasion can be known as a moment too. So if there's a particular time or occasion, you can also call it a moment. All right, so we're going to practice to read this sentence. We're going to read through it twice, and then we're going to move on to the next sentence. So let's go. Let's call the words. Growing up, Michelle always found solace in the quiet moments. Let's read it one more time. And remember, guys, it's important for you to practice. Growing up, Michelle always found solace in the quiet moments. All right. So if you were able to do that, then you have done a very good job. Check to see if you can read right through it now. So I'm going to be reading through it with you, and let's check to see if you can read right through. Growing up, Michelle always found solace in the quiet moments. All right. If you were able to do that, then congratulations. Great job. All right, so let's move on to our next part. Here we have W and H together. In this one, the W makes a sound, the H is silent, we get U. And then E, the short sound for E, TH, D, and ER, So we hear weather, weather, weather. The British would say weather, the Americans would say weather. So you hear stronger from the Americans, and from the big British, you'll hear, that just puff of air of weather. Okay, guys, you got this. All right, so now we are going to go on to the next part. And this weather is like when you're making a choice or when there's a doubt. It's not weather as in weather that has to do with the climate. No, it is weather as in you're making a choice or when there is a doubt. Whenever you're expressing those, then use that word. Okay, where are we now? So let's keep going. Our next word, guys, is this word. So in this word, we're gonna always call the first part of the word because remember, ing together says a in. So we know that part. So the e and e, the e makes a sound that is still silent. So we hear r, and it's the e is making a long song. That's where it's calling it its own name. So we're gonna hear e, e. So here we can say r, eed, read, and in reading. So always remember for spelling purposes that you are going to ensure that when you're spelling the word, you remember that the A is also present, that it's EA, making the sound E. Okay, so what is reading? So reading is actually where you're able to look at words and you're able to interpret them, whether they be characters or symbols. And so you are able to comprehend them also. Our next word, and reading is a lot of person's hobby. When I started, I told you guys that reading is one of my hobbies. However, lately I've not been reading as much as I really should be reading. Our next word, the O, two O's together make the O song, which is a long O song. So in this one, we hear book, book, book. And remember, always call the root word, then add the sound. So we hear books, books. And this word would rhyme with word like look and these words. So always pay attention to ensure that sometimes when you don't know a word, you can look for words in your own vocabulary or words that you've seen before that looks very much alike. So you can rhyme them. It does not work in all English words because remember, English is a funny language where songs would change depending on the word. In this next word, oh, and you know what a book is. A book is where you have a group of pages together that are stuck together or bind together. You would call it a book. It doesn't necessarily have to have words in it, but yeah, books with words and those without. All right. So our next word we get is list, and then we hear the en series n. So this root word is listen, listen. However, when we add the ing, we are not going to hear the F song. Okay? We're not going to hear a song. Instead, we're going to hear listening. So we're going to hear listening and in. All right? So you have to know how to pronounce the words in both stages. When it is just the root word, as in the present form of the word, we would say listen. So you would hear N, the T silent, when it is in this form where the ing is added, the form that tells us that the action is happening now, or the action is happening or continuing, then it's going to change and the E is going to be silent. So we're going to hear listening, listening. All right. Our next word, what does it mean to listen? So listen, when you're listening, that's like when you hear songs and you concentrate on the songs or you focus on them or you pay attention to them. That would be you listening, whether it be somebody talking or just some sort of audio like music or otherwise. Our next word, we see E in this word, just like we saw E in the word read. The EA again, making the E sound, the E makes a sound, the E stays silent. So in your spelling, always remember the A is also present. And then the C comes before the E. So we hear a song like s, and the E at the end is silent. So you're going to notice a difference in this word compared to solace. In solace, we hear ace. In peace, we see ace there, but it is not pronounced as ace because the E is joined to the A. So we hear E, and the C makes it sound. Yeah, the N is silent as always in this word. So we hear peace, peace, peace. And then we add our suffix here, full. The suffix is full, full. And the suffix full, when it's added at the end of words, it only uses one L, one L. So always be careful with your spelling. There are some persons who would spell it using two L's. If you do that, then it's going to be incorrect. So be careful with your spelling because you would want to master your spelling. All right. Are we still clicking? Do we still got it? Are we still understanding? All right. So you guys are there with me. Peaceful hair means that when something is actually more or less, I could say, when something is not of war, when something is free from like violence or free from chaos, you can say that it is peaceful. When something is calm or tranquil or quiet or has a silence or a stillness or hushed, we can use any one of those to say that it's peaceful. Okay. Our next word, and I think this is where the last live had come to an end at this word. So let's get it. This word is us. So we're gonna hear the small word us. Like when it's more than one person and you're in class, we would say us. The T is silent, like it is in the word listen. So T is a common word that would be silent. Common letter, sorry, that would be silent in a lot of English words. And the LE here makes the sound O, O. So we're gonna hear us, and O, us, O. And then when we put it together, we hear rustle, rustle. So the word is rustle, rustle. What does it mean when something rustles? What does it mean for something to rustle? So for spelling purposes, always remember that there's a T, okay? Because the root word rust, the root word would be rust, and that would have a T at the end. But the T is silent when you have rustle. So when something rustle, it simply means that it makes a song that sounds muffled or crackling. In the case of like dry leaves and paper, those can make a rustle song. A rustle can also be a soft song, like swish or like a whisper. Those can also be um, a rustle. Here we meet the word book again. Book, book. So remember the two O make the sound O. The S is missing this time, so this is book, which means it's only one. It is in the singular form. And as we said, a book is a combination of pages that are bind together. They can have writing or they may not have writing. Our next word, we can see age in the word. And yes, it's correct to say age. The N is silent. When G comes before E, I or Y, it makes it sound like J. So we're going to hear the J sound. The A makes a long sound. That's where it calls its own name. So we hear A. So when we put the word together, we have P, H, page. And now we add the S sound. Anytime a word ends with ES, the song for the ES would be is. So you hear pages, pages, pages. All right. If you think you got that, say yeah. So always remember ES is. That's a song that you would hear most often used for ES at the end of words. So the word is pages. And pages would be the leaves that are in a book. Or when you have a sheet of paper, you can call it a page. Our next word has that same G coming before the E. And so we're going to be using a J sound for it. So we hear J, N. So we see N, like in the word listen, when it's a root word. Gen, and then we see T and O. So we have gen, and in gentle, the T is pronounced, so we can hear the T. So we hear gent and O. So we hear gentle, gentle. All right. So there you see two different variations when you have TLE at the ending of words. So hence the reason you have to be careful and concentrate on the words so much that after a time you're going to learn the words. And so when you learn the words, despite you see the pattern in the word, you will know which ones to use the pattern with and which ones not to use it with. Okay? And that is the most important thing in learning English. It's to practice the words often so that you can, after a time, be very familiar with the words. When something is gentle, it means that when somebody is gentle, or when something has been done in a gently fashion, it simply means that it was done kindly, or it was done very tenderly, or you could say otherwise like soft, or it was done more in a quiet, even humble way. You can use all those other words. You can also use calm or kind. All those words mean the same as gentle. So it was something that was not harsh at all. It was something that was more tender and calm. Right. Coming up to our next word, we see the rhyme So we say hum. Remember, the two M makes the same sound, so then we just add the ing. So we hear hum and in. Humming, humming, humming. So our word is humming. All right, you think you got a guy? Humming. Good. If you got that, say yes, I do. What does it mean to hum? So when someone hums, it simply means that they make a low, steady noise, or they make a, like in the case of cats, they make a purr, or they make a trub, or even the murmur. You can call those a hum. Or even sometimes when the song sounds a bit like a busy kind of song, you can call that a hum. Our next word is a, re, al, and then we hear so the energy together says need. So we hear you al and a lot, long. So when you walk along or you go along, it simply means that you're going ahead, or you're going forward, or you're moving onward to something that you would say that you are. along or going along. Our next word. So we have G and R together, making the sound grr. Then we see the small word and, so we can say grand, and then you add d, grand. Or we can put this three-letter word and we can say grand, and then grandpa, grandpa. All right. So this word in the English you hear grandpa, grandpa, but in the American way of talking you hear grandpa, grandpa. So they'll basically miss out the some for duty at the end. So you hear grandpa, grandpa. All right. Who is a grandpa? Grandpa is actually the what we call a grandfather or our parents' father. Our parents' father would be our grandpa. Some people may call their parents' grandfather grandpa also, which would be their great grandfather, they would call grandpa. All right. And our next word we hear "ru." The H is actually silent in this word. So we hear "ru," and then the I makes a short I sound. We hear A. So "ru," A, and then we hear D. TH making the D sound there, and we hear mm. So we hear id, and we hear im. Rhythm, rhythm. So the word is rhythm. Just before the song, you actually hear like there's an inclusion of a song, short a song, or maybe the schwa song there. So always be careful to know that there's no letter added there. It is just the inclusion of the schwa song. I think most likely it's the schwa song, right? You hear there. So you hear a, the the R makes the sound, the H is silent. Remember that for spelling purpose, that the H is present there, but it's silent. The Y at the end makes a sound like A. And then the TH makes the D sound, and the M makes the sound. So you hear A, and in rhythm. All right, guys, what is a rhythm? And a lot of us we talk about reading all the time. So reading is actually a pattern that is repeated, right? A movement or song. And this pattern is normally a very strong pattern that is repeated. Or we can call it a pattern, we can call it a flow. And a lot of times you would hear rhythm in poetry, dance, or music. That's when you would hear a rhythm. So it can be like a strong pattern of songs, words, or musical notes. You would call it a rhythm. All right, guys. Our next word we have I. The E at the end is silent. Remember the E at the end being silent. Most times we hear the vowel that comes before makes a long I sound. So in this case, we hear the vowel say I, like in the word nine or in the word five. So here we hear I, five. And what is a five? So a five is actually a flute. A five is a flute. Okay. Back then, long ago, we used to use or hear about pipe a lot. So the pipe is a flute. So it's a type of flute. All right, here we meet our word again. the same word. Remember, when we meet the words again, I expect you to be able to call them, okay? So this word, we just called it a while ago there, and it's the same word. Remember, the T silent, and the root word says listen. However, when we add ing to it, the E is going to be silent, and we're going to hear listen and in, listening. All right, so we're not going to hear the E sound in it. Our next word, it derives from this word, the root word of that word. So you should remember the root word for that word, and that is hum. So here, and we see the rhyme hum. And remember what hum means, and remember what listening means. So when you're listening, it means that you are hearing songs and you're concentrating or paying attention to those songs. Hum is actually a or soft sound. We can say that it is like a murmur, or we can even say it is like a bee sound, like the song that the bee makes, like a buzz kind of sound. Those are what we can call hum. All right. So we see this part of the word here. So we have done that part of the word, the G and R making the sound brr. And then we see the small word and. So we say grand, and then grandma. So here ma. And remember, the Americans would say grandma, so you would not hear the do sound, while the British would say grandma. Okay? And we add the S at the end, so we can hear grandmas. All right, then here's grandmas. Okay, guys, we're getting there with our words, and we're doing very well. So we're gonna clock the hour. We're gonna clock the hour when we finish reading. So we're gonna try to keep it within our range. All right. So our next word, this word, it is not called as it is spelled. So you need to be very careful with it. So it might look like a long word, but remember we have ing units, and you know what ing says in. So it and the ing says new. Put it together in. And we hear the S making the sound s, but the EW is pronounced as O. So yes, O. So and in. Sewing, sewing, sewing. In some place you may hear sewing. Um, yes, E and W makes the O sound. So you have to be very careful when you're pronouncing the word, right? So you hear sewing, sewing. And when you sew, that's basically where you are using like thread or needle, thread and needle. And that's actually where you work to try to get it's more like what you call needlework. So you try to repair clothing, or you make things, you be creative and make things from cloth. So to sew, or when you are doing sewing, it means that you are repairing clothing, or you are taking the thread and needle and you're making new, using cloth to make new clothing. All right. Some people call it needlework. If you call it needlework, that's fine too. Okay, so we're doing well, guys, and I love this for you. Our next word, Let's go on to our next word. Our next word is ma, and we see this in grandma. Remember, just like Michelle, we hear the CH makes the sh sound. It's the same thing. In this word, we're going to hear the CH making the sh sound. So we hear mash, and INE here makes E. All right. So we hear machine. So it actually means that the E at the end is silent, and the I takes us up a new sound to say E. So we hear machine, machine. And what is a machine, guys? A machine is actually a device that is being used, or a tool that is being used to make work easier. So a sewing machine would be that device or tool that is used to allow you, sorry guys, to allow you to make clothing or to repair clothing easier rather than using your hand and the needle and thread. All right, so we're getting there, guys. It's just getting there. The WH in this word says with. The I says I. Remember when it is at the end being silent. A lot of the times the vowel before we call its name, which is the I, and then we hear the U sound. So we hear whoop, while. In W and H, the H is silent. Remember, WH can make two sounds. It can make whoop, or it can make ch. When it makes the whoop sound, the H is silent. When it makes the ch sound, the W is silent. So always pay attention to that combination to know that a lot of words, when you hear w at the beginning, they begin with WH. So that's why you have to be constant with reading so you can practice the words. So after a time, your spelling would be perfected, and so with your reading. Practice makes perfect, guys. All right, let's go on to our next word. The E at the end is silent. And remember the rule that was said whenever E at the end is silent, most times, not all times, but most times, the vowel that comes before it, we call it name. And so we call that a long song. So here, the A here says E. So here, me, E, me. Remember that E is silent. Whenever you're spelling the word, remember that there's a silent E there. A lot of us, we forget that there's an E. All right? You have to remember the silence. Mm. So the word is make. When you make something, it basically means that you have created something. So to make something would be to do something or to create something. Right, let's go on to our next word. Yes. See you now together. Cur. So yes, cur. Put them together as a trigraph. Yes, cur. Then we have the rhyme up, like in the word map, lap, top. So here, screw up. Or what you could have done, you could have put this small word, wrap, and make the S and C sound together. So now you have screw up, screw up, screw up, scrap. All right. When something is scrap, it means that that thing is a leftover from whatever it is that you were using or had. A lot of the times, the scrap is something that we want to get rid of. So we would throw it away because a lot of the times it is like a small quantity or a small amount that would be left over when you have scrap. And then we see at, the small word at in this word, we say at, mat. So here we have scrap mat. And yes, that is a thing, guys, scrap mat. All right, our next word we have bet. So we have bet as a word. When you bet, remember the T makes the same sound like the T, so we only make the song one time and then we put the ER together to say And we put the word together, we have bet and better, better. In English, British English uses or pronounce it as better. The American would pronounce it as better, better. Sorry, they would not use the sound. No, the Americans would not use the sound. Remember, whenever Americans call a lot of the times they use the d sound to represent. So you hear them say better, better. So it would be bed and better. While the British would say better, better. All right. Good. So we got that. And then this word, we see it as in a rhyme, like in the word let and met. So we say yep, et, yep. Good, guys. All right. We did not do the meaning for better or better. Remember the pronunciation according to the British, better. According to the Americans, better, better. So when something is better or better, it means that that thing is greater, that thing is more recommended, it is mostly wanted by others, it is satisfactory, or it is very effective. We can use any one of those to mean the same as better. If we want to use a phrase to talk about the word better, then it would mean that we can say that this thing has been improved, okay? So when something is better, it means that it has been improved or even more appropriate. Okay, our next word, we have the small word it. So we say it, sit, then ing makes the sound ing. So we put it together, we have sit, in, sitting, sitting. And when you are sitting, it means that your bottom is on a surface and it is just simply pressing against that surface. Your bottom is pressing against that surface. All right. We are almost done with the words. And our next word, we hear I. So we hear I, and then we hear fire. So in this one, we have like a kind of reverse of the we see re, but the re actually here makes a sound like so we hear fire, fire, fire. The British would say using the schwa sound, so we hear fire. Remember the how the British pronounce it more like a schwa sound, fire, while the Americans would say fire, fire, fire. So always be careful with this. Some people might say fiery or furry because IR can say However, this is how we group it to call it fire. But it's just strange that it's RE, but yet we're hearing the ER sound, fire. And what is fire? Well, I'm sure that you guys light a fire almost every day when you're cooking. So you might be familiar with what fire means from that. So fire is actually where you have those chemicals or substance coming together to burn, and it creates a bright light. Oh, and it also creates heat and smoke. Creates heat and smoke. All right. So the chemical would be where you have like gasoline even alcohol and those things, they can, those would be the chemical and the oxygen from the air. When they combine, they are able to create, for you guys, the burning bright light, heat, and smoke. And that is able to burn things. Our next word, and by now we're familiar with the most popular combination when E is at the end silent. So we're going to use that popular combination here. So the E is silent in this one. The vowel that comes before, most of the times, it makes a long sound. In this one, yes, we have the long sound. So we say side, side. And this word rhymes with word like ride and hide. So if you're familiar with those words, you can just take off the beginning sound and basically mesh it there to get the word side. And when you talk about side, you're talking about um, the part that is left or right to you. We would call that the side. Whatever is on the left or on the right, those would be the side. Our next word, tell, tell, and we add ing. Remember, ing says ing. So we get tell, in, telling. So the word is telling, telling. The word is telling. Okay. Our next word, but before we go to the next word, what does the word telling means? To tell something. What does it mean? So when you tell something, it simply means that you say it, or you speak it, or you talk it. All those would mean the same as tell. Okay? If you think you got that, guys, then you got it. You got it. You got it. All right. So we have two more words to go. How do you feel about what you have gotten? Do you feel confident? Um, as we got to this class, do you feel confident that you have mastered all the words before? Do you think that you are able to call them? Let me know, guys, if you think you're able to call them. Or let me know if you think you're able to call them. So I would appreciate that, guys. Let me know if you are able to call them. All right, so we're going to move on to our next word. So in this word, we have SMT making the sound st, and then we have core, store, and then we have I, saying E, and then we hear the S at the end make a sound like Z. So remember, we hear store, so the IE making the sound E. Remember, IE can make two sounds. It can say I or it can say E. Or in some cases, it can make other sounds, okay? So in this case, we hear E. So store and ease, store, ease, stories. Our word here is stories. So this is the sound that we're hearing here. Store and E. That's the song that we have from the ID here. Store, ease, stories, stories. And what is a story? A story is actually something that gives an account of something that has happened. So a stories would be more than stories here would be more than one, where you're able to give an account or a more than one tale about something that has happened. All right. Our next word, we can recognize the C, sorry, coming before I. So we say S, and then we have ing. We see the small word an. So we can now put our word together. Do. And then we add the ing. Dance, ing. Dance, ing. Dancing. Dancing. And what does it mean to dance? What does it mean to dance, guys? A lot of you, I know, we dance from time to time. We may not be dancers where we are able to do it looking well and professional and so on, but we dance from time to time. So to dance would simply mean that you are able to make rhythmical movements to music. All right. So when you're able to make rhythmical movements to music, then you could say that you dance. And these would include things like a spin, a twirl, a whirl, a rock, all these things, stepping. Some people might even say you get down. All that is dance. When you move your body and your feet to music, that is dance. So an easier way that you can remember is to move your body to and your feet to music. And you will know that that was dance. So when you hear the music playing and you start moving your body and your feet and you're creating that rhythm, that is dance. So you say that you're dancing. That is happening. You are dancing. I am dancing. I am dancing. All right, guys. So you can start dancing. If that's what you want to do, go ahead. Start dancing, guys. Nothing is wrong with you dancing if that's what you want to do. So we have finished with reading our text and we have just gone past the hour. So we're going to try to read through for the next 10 minutes and then we are going to complete. So what we're going to do to read through is that we're going to be going through the words. We're going to be going through the words, guys. All the words that we have done. You see the parts of the words. You did the songs. We did the vocabulary. So by now, you should be very familiar with all these words. So what we're going to do now is that we're going to call the words and then we're going to be reading through. And this will be like you practicing it and it would help you a lot in your reading. So let's go ahead and call the words. The word is growing, Michelle, always, found, solace, solace, quiet, quiet, moments, moments. All right, so let's read through that first sentence. Let's read through the first sentence. Growing up, Michelle always found solace in the quiet moments. Let's read it one more time. And this time we're going to be trying our best to read it in a sentence form. That's where we are going to be reading as though we are confident. We are ready to go. We have learned it. All right. So let's go ahead and let's do it. I want to do it. Just say, I want to do it. And I can do it. Okay. Let's see you do it. Okay. All right, guys. So here is our reading. Let's begin. Are you ready? Ready? If you're ready, type ready. Let's go. Growing up, Michelle always found solace in the quiet moments. All right. Were you able to do that? Were you able to do that? All right. If not, then let's do it one more time. Then we move on to the next sentence. And this time, be sure to follow the black line. Let's go. Growing up, Michelle always found solace in the quiet moments. All right. Let's go ahead now and call our other words. Are you ready to go? Weather, weather, reading, reading, books, books, listening, 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 peaceful, 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 rustle, 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 book, book, pages, 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 gentle, 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 humming, 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 along, 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 grandpa, grandpa, grandpa. Remember British, grandpa, American English, grandpa. Rhythm, 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 rhythm. Good. If you're able to do that, guys, then you are on your way. Very smart of you. Let's go ahead and let's read through these sentences. We're going to be using black first to read through this sentence. Let's begin. If you're ready, let me hear you say ready. Whether it was reading books and listening to the peaceful rustle of book pages or gentle humming along to her grandpa rhythm. All right. Remember, it's us taking it slow like Milo because we wanted to get all the words. Now we're going to be reading it very moderately, which means at a faster pace. Okay? So let's begin at a faster pace, guys. And don't forget, we want you to always remember to try your best to do it as best as you can. Okay, so this time we're going to be following the yellow lines. Whether it was reading books and listening to the peaceful rustle of book pages or gentle humming along to her grandpa reading, all right, and this word should be gently. So it should be with the Y at the end. So the Y would say Lee. So gently humming along to her grandpa rhythm. And this should be grandpa's rhythm. All right. So there we make some corrections. All right. So let's read it one more time to make sure that we have it together. Whether it was reading books and listening to the peaceful rustle of book pages or gentle humming along to her grandpa rhythm. Good. If you think you got all of that, guys, you did very well. So that's amazing. So now we're going to be looking at the words, the other words. Let's look at them. Pipe, listening, hum, grandma, sewing, machine, while, me, scrap, better, sitting, fire, side, telling, stories, dancing. All right. If you think you're familiar with those words now, let's go ahead and read them. Remember, we're doing a word by word reading first, then we're reading moderately, then we try to up our game by reading very fast. Let's go now. On the bike or listening to the hum of her grandma's sewing machine while she make a scrap mat, or better yet, sitting by the fireside telling stories and dancing. Wow, look at that. That is super duper. How do you feel, guys? Let's read it one more time. This time we're going to be very quick at it. Very quick, guys. And we're going to be following the red mark. Okay? Let's go. Ready? If you're ready, say ready. You're ready. Let's go. On the pipe or listening to the hum of her grandma's sewing machine while she make a scrap mat, or better yet, sitting by the fire side telling stories and dancing. One more time to make sure that we have it quick. Let's go. And try not to pause. I did some pausing, but let's try not to pause. Let's try to do it carefully. So let's try our best not to pause this time, but to go through the whole reading without any mistakes. Ready to go? Let's go. On the five, or listening to the hum of her grandma's sewing machine while she make a scrap mat, or better yet, sitting by the fireside telling stories and dancing. How was that, guys? Was that better for you? Were you able to call all the words? I hope that you were, because what we're going to do now, we're going to erase all the clues for the songs and the words, and we're going to be going through the reading as a blank page without anything helping us, any representation or symbols to help us to know which parts to call and how to break the word and see how well we can do at it. Okay? So here's your time to reflect on the words as I erase the parts, reflecting each and every word that we have covered. For those of you who are just joining, we have already done the vocabulary of the words. You can go back to listen for the pronunciations and see how to break the word, how to code the words, to remember how to spell them, and also to get the vocabulary for them. All right? And do your best at it. Okay? So let's get to it. If you're ready, let me hear you say ready. Are you ready, guys? You know, for the first time, the first reading, I'm going to be lenient, which means I'm going to go through the words again, pronunciation wise, the difficult words, growing, Michelle, always, found, solace, quiet, moments. Let's read through that sentence. Growing up, Michelle always found solace in the quiet moments. All right, hope that you were able to read it with that fluent. Let's read it one more time. So in case you did not develop your fluency at that point, you can develop it now. Let's go. Growing up, I always found solace in the quiet moments. Were you able to do that? If so, I'm so proud of you. Let's keep going. Whether it was reading books and listening to the peaceful rustle of book pages or gently, this word should be gently and not gentle, gently humming along to her grandpa reading. Let's read that one more time, okay, guys? Whether it was reading books and listening to the peaceful rustle of book pages or gentle humming along to her, sorry guys, to her grandpa reading on the. All right, so I need to correct this word and have you stop reading it as gentle. The word should be gently because gentle is the noun, but gently tells us how something is being done. It's the adverb. So that is the correct part that you want. We want it to be gently. So remember the G makes a sound like J. Whenever G comes before E or Y, we hear that J sound and the LY says A. So gently. And here we should have grandpas. So we just gonna add the apostrophe and S like here. Okay? Because grandpa owns something there. So it shows us that there is possession. So we're going to read it correctly. Okay? Because I don't want to be reading it incorrectly and you're focusing on the words, which means that you would learn something incorrectly. I don't want that to okay? So let's go and read it again, guys. Remember, we have done the vocabulary. If you want the vocabulary, you'll have to go back from the beginning stage to get the vocabulary for the words. Are you ready now? I'm ready. Let's begin. Whether it was reading books and listening to the peaceful rustle of book pages or gently humming along to her grandpa's reading. All right, let's try to read that one more time and let's try our best to sound very fluent. Ready? Let's go. Ready? Whether it was reading books and gently, sorry guys, I messed up. I messed up. That's why we should not focus on one thing too long, because sometimes it sticks on your memory. All right, so let's begin. Whether it was reading books and listening to the peaceful rustle of book pages or gently humming along to her grandpa's rhythm. Were you able to get that? How was that for you? Guys, and if you want to come up on screen to read, the link is in the comment section. just alert me that you want to come up on stage on screen to read so that you can practice aloud. The link is in the comment section, so you guys can just click the link and come up on screen. The link would allow you to come up on screen too. Let's go. Let's read again. Whether it was reading books and listening to the peaceful rustle of book pages or gently humming along to her grandpa's rhythm. All right. I guess we all got that. So now we're going to do the other words. Five, five, listening, listening, hum, grandmas, grandmas, sewing, sewing, machine, machine, while, make, scrap, mat, better, better. That's the British pronunciation. Better, better. That's the American pronunciation. Yet, sitting, fire, side, telling, stories, stories, dancing, dancing. All right, guys. So I'm sure that you have all those words together. You're going to be reading through now. Let's go ahead and read through. We're going to be following a blue mark at this point to guide our reading. Are you ready to go? I'm ready. So let's go. Let's see. Type ready. On the 5 or listening to the hum of her grandma's sewing machine while she made a scrap mat, or better yet, sitting by the fireside telling stories and dancing. How was that for you? How was that for you guys? Was that good? Well, now we're going to try our best to improve, okay? Let's try our best to improve. If that was good, let's try our best to improve. Remember the words listening, 5, machine, sitting, fire, side, telling, stories, dancing, better, yet, scrap, mat, make, while, hum, grandma's, sewing. All right, I guess you got it because we all got it. All right, we're going to be using a yellow mark. Let's go. Ready to go? Type ready. Let's go. Ready. If you're ready, type ready. Let's go. On the 5 or listening to the hum of her grandma's sewing machine while she made a scrap mat, or better yet, sitting by the fireside telling stories and dancing. I'm sure you did very well at that. If you think that that was good, then let's try to get better. So we're going to do another one. Then we're going to be reading the full story 2 times. All right. And then that would mark the end of our reading. So let's go ahead and let's read. On the 5 or listening to the hum of her grandma's sewing machine while she made a scrap mat, or better yet, sitting by the fireside telling stories and dancing. How was that? That should be extremely well. All right. So now we're going to be reading the whole text together. The whole text together. We're going to be reading the whole text together now. 2 times. First, we're going to take it at a moderate pace, and then we're going to take it at a fast pace. Okay? So let's go. First, we're going to be using yellow mark. Let's go. That means a moderate pace. Yellow mark. And then we're going to be taking it faster. Let's go. Growing up, sorry guys, we're going to restart. Okay, we're going to restart. We're going to restart. Let's go. Ready? Type ready and let's go. Ready? Let's go. Growing up, Michelle always found solace in the quiet moments, whether it was reading books and listening to the peaceful rustle of book pages or gently humming along to her grandpa's rhythm on the pipe or listening to the hum of her grandma's sewing machine while she made a scrap mat, or better yet, sitting by the fire. All right, guys, you see what just happened a while ago. So we're going to try to get this back to our normal level. All right. Um, so we're going to keep things and we're going to try to get it. Okay, guys, you know, anything can happen at any time. Or better yet, sitting by the fireside telling stories and dancing. Oh, so we're going to do it one more time, guys. This time we're using a blue line to, and we're going to try to improve our pace, and we're going to try not to make any mistakes and try to keep it all together so that nothing happens. So let's go. Growing up, Michelle always found solace in the quiet moments, whether it was reading books and listening to the peaceful rustle of book pages or gently humming along to her grandpa's rhythm on the pipe or listening to the hum of her grandma's sewing machine while she made a scrap mat, or better yet, sitting by the fireside telling stories and dancing. That was a lot better. But this time we're going to try to make it even better. Remember we said when something is better, it means that it was improved or it has developed or it has gotten greater. All right, so let's try that. Ready to go? Let's type ready and let's go. Growing up, Michelle always found solace in the quiet moments, whether it was reading books and listening to the peaceful rustle of book pages or gently humming along to her grandpa's reading on the pipe or listening to the hum of her grandma's sewing machine while she made a scrap mat, or better yet, sitting by the fireside telling stories and dancing. How was that, guys? To me, that was better. Okay, that was better. We were able to read through very fluently. All right, so we're just gonna do it. Should we do it one more time or should we stop there? Okay, guys, so we're gonna stop there for today. It is your turn now to practice and try to improve your reading. Practice as much times as you want to. Just keep pausing, rewinding, and practice. Remember, if you want vocabulary, you have to go back to the beginning of the video, about 7 minutes of the video, 7 minutes in of the video. That's when the vocabulary started. And with that, you get all the practice that you need. All the best and keep doing your best as you continue to improve your learning of English. Keep practicing. Always remember to share these videos with others who are trying to learn English so that they can practice in English. Hope to see you again later. If you haven't subscribed yet, guys, please hit that subscribe button so that we can get to practice more English God bless, guys.